Hi all! Welcome to my channel. My name is Greta and I make BSL lyric videos, sign-by-sign tutorials and chronic illness related content. If you saw last Monday's video, you probably know that I recently graduated from Cardiff University, but it wasn't quite the finish this journey deserved. If you want to know more, you can click on the card above or follow the link in the description below. Many students recently received their A-level results and now have a clearer picture of what their future holds. It is an exciting and scary time for everyone, but it is even more scary if you are disabled and or live with a chronic illness. And I thought I would share all the things that I learned about doing university and chronic illness and put it together as a listicle for you. So here come 5+1 tips for starting university, chronic illness edition. Number 1, register with a GP or not. When I moved here, for me it wasn't a question whether to register with one or not, as I didn't have a GP at all within the UK. However, the university was really adamant that you register with a GP in your university city as soon as possible, which for most people is a really sound advice because, you know, if you get an illness or something, you don't want to bother with the registration process. But if you have a chronic condition or disability that requires ongoing treatment, and especially if you are treated for something like POTS, where often the medications are off license and not all GPs feel comfortable prescribing them, you might actually face an unexpected gap in your treatment until you can sort all that out. And with the stress of uni starting, that is not something you necessarily want to do. So before you decide whether or not to register with a GP, it is important that you weigh the pros and cons of each option. For me, once I registered with the GP at my home address down in Devon, I stayed with them even though I still went back to university, because the inconvenience of travelling back and forth wasn't as bad as it would have been to deal with my health situation without the support group of healthcare workers that I know and trust. So make sure that you think about it. Whatever you decide early on, and don't forget, you can always temporarily register with a GP if you have a sudden cold or anything like that. Tip number 2, to whom it may concern. You might not identify as disabled and you might not feel comfortable using it. However, most universities are calling the support services the disability team or disability services still. And these are the people who can help you with reasonable adjustments, which we will come to in my next point. But to be registered with the team, you often need a letter called "To whom it may concern," which should be written by healthcare professionals that are aware of your situation, and it describes the way your condition or conditions affect your everyday life, including tasks you would need to carry out. It is good to have these documents ready as soon as you can. If you already did this through the UCAS application process, you might want to just contact them if they haven't contacted you already to make sure everything is in place when you arrive. Many people with various chronic illnesses need years to figure out what is wrong, but that doesn't mean that the conditions don't affect you before your official signed and stamped diagnosis. You can ask for a GP letter that describes the same things as the "To whom it may concern" letter. However, in many cases, you need to pay for these letters and it can take a few weeks for them to arrive. So make sure you start the process well in time. Tip number 3, reasonable adjustments. When registering for the disability services, outside of the whole application process and the "To whom it may concern" letter, I also had to go through an interview where we went through what we already included in the application, but also discussed what reasonable adjustments I might need they have the same fighting chance as a healthy student. These reasonable adjustments can include lift access, a BSL interpreter, extra time in exams, using a keyboard or dictating instead of handwriting in an exam or assignment, among many other things. Prior to such appointment, it is worthwhile to write down your biggest obstacles and whatever you think might be a solution for them. If you previously had reasonable adjustments in your secondary school or college, you might have a better idea of what works for you. But even if you're unsure, don't worry, they are there to help and they know what people in similar situations benefited from. And don't worry, you can register anytime throughout your degree, and also you can update them if your conditions change or if you get a new diagnosis. Tip number 4. Extenuating circumstances. If your condition fluctuates a lot and it is hard to predict, you should bring this up at the interview I was just talking about or contact them separately regarding it. If such a flare happens, you might need to file a form called extenuating circumstances or go down another route, but it is definitely something you should find out as soon as possible. However, even if your condition is stable or your health is tip-top and you're just here to watch for funds, hi there by the way, you still want to keep an eye out for what the process of submitting extenuating circumstances is like. For example, in my first year, I had to use this as my retina started peeling and I needed an emergency major surgery to stop it from getting worse. Fun times, I know. And this happened a few weeks before my end of module exams. And although, thank God, it all went well, it was really reassuring to know there was this safety net that made sure that if something happened to my vision or if something acted up during an exam or right before, I could resit the exam without my grade being capped and that my results wouldn't contribute to my degree grade. As I said, luckily I didn't need to use it, but it just gave me that peace of mind that might have contributed to getting the grade I did get. For those of you who are interested, the surgery was successful. However, it only stopped my retina peeling off even more and going fully blind in my right eye, and I still lost a part of my vision permanently. Tip number 5. Be honest and be safe. Be honest to your flatmates, to your course mates, to your friends, and most importantly, to yourself. Especially at university, when you start out, it can be really tempting to push your limits, but unlike your healthy course mates, your biggest worry is not about being too hungover to go to lectures in the morning, but it can be much more serious. And although the livers might disagree, the repercussions for the healthy students are often just temporary, while for many of us with the disability or chronic illness, it could be a lifelong punishment if we don't listen to our bodies. If you are honest with the people around you, and if you're honest with yourself, you are less likely to get in impossible situations or feel like that you're the odd one out. You will find the people who will understand and love you the way you are. A way of being honest and open about it, and also to increase your safety, you could always wear a sunflower lanyard which signals to the outside world that you have an invisible illness or a hidden disability, as well as maybe carrying a medical alert card that describes your conditions. And now the +1 tip, also known as number 6. Reach out, especially if you're moving far away or if you're moving without your friends or family. There will be the pressure of trying to fit in, but trust me, you will find your people. You can find the people who are going through a similar thing as you are, who live right across the world. Most disorders have national or international charities, and many of them offer support groups which you might find useful. I think every condition now has its own Facebook group as well, and maybe your university also has a disability related society where you can meet other people who might just find university challenging the same or in completely different ways to you. And keep an eye out for the sunflower lanyards, because they are a good sign of someone being in similar shoes to yours, and it could be a good conversation starter. But I understand if you're too shy for that. I can say it will be all good and it will be all fine, but obviously that's not always true. And if you feel like you're struggling, all or almost all universities offer mental health support. As someone who had to personally reach out, I found them really, really useful. And it is just nice to know that it's there if you need it. Don't forget, a problem shared is a problem halved. That's all from me for today. I hope that you found this video useful, and leave a comment below with any questions, tips, or if you just want to reach out to other people with chronic illnesses. Alternatively, you can also find me on Twitter and on Instagram. Thank you for sharing this video with your friends and family. Please subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with new content coming out. I wish you all the best for this new academic year. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye bye.